Welcome to the yard. I'll be your guide for today's Shipyard Safety Awareness Simulation session. Shipyards are dangerous places and people do get hurt, but many people have worked here for years without ever being injured. These people are paying attention to what is going on around them and making smart decisions to ensure their safety and that of others. You are your best safety tool. Think before you act, and you can avoid injury and keep the shipyard tradition alive. Today we'll visit some of the places in the shipyard where common accidents occur and where hazards are present. We'll get an overview of correct personal protection equipment, or PPE, to minimize exposure to a variety of hazards, and we'll go over proper safety procedures. PPE ensures the greatest possible protection for you in the workplace. It's designed to protect you from hazards that come in many different forms in the workplace. These hazards can include sharp edges, falling objects, flying sparks, chemicals, noise, and a number of other potentially dangerous situations. There are many types of PPE dependent for the job you'll be performing, but there are some basic pieces of gear you'll need at all times, regardless of where you are. To protect your hearing, you'll need proper hearing protection. Hearing loss occurs when you're exposed to loud noises over long periods of time. Wear earmuffs or earplugs at all times when you are exposed to excessive noise. To protect your head from falling objects, bumping your head against fixed, solid objects, or accidental contact with electrical hazards, you'll need proper head protection. Always keep your hard hat on. Eye injuries are the most common type of injury in this environment, so you'll need proper eye protection. It protects you from flying particles, molten metal, liquid chemicals, acids or caustic liquids, chemical gases or vapors, potentially infected material, or potentially harmful light radiation. It's important that you keep your eye protection on at all times in production areas. Foot protection, such as steel-toed shoes, protect you from falling or rolling objects or from crushing or penetrating materials. Wear the foot protection at all times. Oh, by the way, cell phone use while you're in the shipyard is prohibited, and smoking is not allowed in many areas, such as offices, break rooms, and on board Navy vessels. Okay, before we go, let's go over our PPE gear. As you click on the PPE gear, I'll be putting it on. Okay, first click on the PPE designed to protect you while working in a high-noise environment. That's right, earmuffs will do the job. Now, click on the PPE which will protect your head from falling objects, bumping your head against fixed, solid objects, or accidental contact with electrical hazards. Boots can protect your feet from falling objects, but we're trying to protect your head. Correct. The hard hat will keep your head safe from falling objects. Now, click on the PPE that will protect you from flying particles. Correct. Eye protection should be worn at all times. This cannot be stressed enough. And finally, click on your foot protection. Okay, now that we've talked about the proper PPE gear, let's get started. Hop in the passenger seat and we'll drive to the shop. Shipyards have many different types of vehicles and people are everywhere, so be on the defensive while driving and walking and watch out for both. Always drive the speed limit, which is 5 miles per hour. Keep a safe distance behind vehicles in front of you. Check your blind spots and watch out for pedestrians. Okay, let's keep going. Whoa, that was close. I didn't check my blind spot and I nearly hit that guy. You know what? Shop 7 isn't that far. Let's just park this truck and walk. Okay, we're about to go inside the fabrication shop. The fab shop builds steel structures ranging from small items such as clips and ladders to very large structures such as barge sections and crane booms. Often smaller pieces are built and then fitted together in the field or on board a ship. The work involves a large amount of material handling by cranes, fork trucks, chain falls, and people. Typically, hot work is performed every day, all day. So welding, torch cutting, and grinding hazards are all around you. You need to be aware of these hazards and use good judgment to avoid injury to you or your coworkers. Specialized PPE, in addition to other standard PPE, is needed while doing some of these different jobs. If you're welding, you must wear a welding shield. This PPE will protect your eyes, face, and neck from flash burns, ultraviolet light, sparks, infrared light, and heat. When burning or torch cutting, you must wear shaded lenses. Even though the light is not as intense as welding, you can receive flash burns. When grinding, you'll need a face shield. This will protect your face from sparks, heat, and debris. Hand protection is also required for all of the work inside this shop. You'll need gloves specifically designed to protect you from cuts, scrapes, punctures, and heat. Air purifying respirators are used to protect you from inhaling harmful dusts, fumes, vapors, and gases. Okay, let's go inside. Welcome to the fabrication shop. In here we fabricate steel structures such as barges, flood control gates, and aircraft carrier compartments. Again, always wear the correct PPE for the job. Let's go in and take a look at what's happening here. Okay, this is Dave. He's about to do some work on that deck plate. First, he'll be doing some grinding. Click on the PPE that Dave will need to perform his tasks, and then send him off to work. Ouch! Dave suffered a serious eye injury because you sent him to grind without wearing his visor. Alright, now that Dave has recovered from his injuries, he's ready to get back to work. He's now going to do some welding. Click on the PPE that Dave will need to perform this task, and let's send him to work again. But expect him to be wary of your suggestions after that last incident. Poor Dave is going to miss extensive time because he wore incorrect PPE for both jobs. He'll likely not speak to you anymore or invite you to his cookouts. You should now have a good sense for the type of work as well as the types of hazards that occur in this fabrication shop. Again, always wear the proper PPE for the job. Never remove your PPE and follow proper procedures. All right, let's walk over to the dry dock. While we're here, I'd like to mention that you should always be very careful when working in extreme heat and cold. You should always stay hydrated to prevent heat-related injuries, such as heat stroke. Make sure to drink plenty of water. Drinks that have electrolytes, such as sports drinks, are okay, but you should avoid caffeinated drinks such as coffee and sodas when working in the heat. When cold weather is present, be alert to icy, slippery conditions and wear clothing appropriate for the weather conditions. Okay, let's move on to Dry Dock 1. Welcome to Dry Dock 1. It's one of 2 dry docks here on Shipyard. Here in the dry dock, we service naval and commercial vessels. This dry dock can handle up to 18,000-ton commercial vessels or 14,500-ton naval vessels. Next door is dry dock number 2, which is certified for 2,800-ton vessels. Like everywhere else in the shipyard, you must always wear proper PPE. Dry docks are busy places, and constant attention to your surroundings is necessary. Like the fab shop, material handling and hot work hazards exist. Additionally, on the dock floor, the hazards of items falling from above pose high risk. Dry docks are normally noisy, so signals, bells, whistles, etc. are hard to hear, so your awareness of your surroundings is essential to your safety. Although it's called a dry dock, most often there is water from wet operations, such as pressure washing, cleaning of tanks, ballasting, etc. When working at heights, make sure you are properly secured with a harness. If you're working on an aerial lift, the harness must be attached to the boom or the basket. Do not do any work at heights without being properly secured. When working from scaffolds, check the daily inspection tag to make sure it's been inspected and follow the instructions on the tag. Do not modify scaffolding. This is a job for properly trained individuals only. Also in this area, there are a lot of electrical components, as well as a lot of standing water. Water and electrical components are a dangerous combination, so always watch out for them to prevent shocks or worse, electrocution. Watching out for slip, trip, and fall hazards may sound like a simple concept, but here on the dry dock, the lay of the land is constantly changing. Always watch where you're going and scan the ground for obstacles and hazards. You also need to be very proactive by making sure you don't leave anything on the ground that can cause someone to slip, trip, or fall. Okay, now that I've explained to you what to watch out for in this area, take a moment to spot some of the safety hazards in the area. Correct. Even though there is no bulb, power is still being pumped through that stringer. If the light is on and someone steps in the water, they could be shocked. Correct. Even though there is no bulb, power is still being pumped through that stringer. If the light is on and someone steps in the water, they could be shocked. Correct. According to OSHA regulations, this worker should be secured to an anchorage point, not the scaffold. Okay, our training is almost done. Our last stop is going to be inside a confined space in this ship here. Let's go. A confined space is an area that has a limited entry and exit. Access is limited to confined spaces due to the potential hazards inside, such as oxygen deficiency and explosive toxic atmospheres. Never enter a confined space without checking the shipyard competent person's log of inspections to make sure it has been certified safe for workers and that it's been checked within the past 24 hours. Be aware that any confined space must be opened and checked before you enter, and that restrictions and limitations may be invoked. If hot work will be performed, be sure the log of inspections states the space and adjacent spaces are certified safe for hot work. Here is a confined space that is closed. Let's move down a little further to an open one. Here we are. Let's climb down. Remember to check the ladder and look where you place your hands and feet. As you can see, the conditions inside are cramped, dark, and uncomfortable. These workers here are grinding, and whenever an injury occurs on the job, you must report it to your supervisor immediately, no matter how minor it may seem at the time. Seek medical attention when needed, and be sure to follow up with your coordinator. Let's get this guy some medical attention and contact his supervisor. This has been your shipyard safety orientation. Always remember to follow procedures, follow directions, And always wear the proper PPE for the job. When the whistle blows at the end of the day, you want to be like these guys instead of this guy.